there are lots of people who would love to know what our secret sauce is. It's a lot of hard work is what it is. It's 55 years of thinking about how you do it better the next day, over and over and over again.
Hey y'all, we want to make the most of your time wasting time, so like and subscribe and we'll keep you up to date on all the cool new gear coming down the pike.
Back to the rig rundown. Hey everyone, this is Chris Kies, 4 Premier Guitar, hanging out in an undisclosed
Yeah.
location in Chicago, Illinois, at the Band Royale bunker. We are here with a familiar face. If you guys are bass junkies and you've come to Chicago, I bet you know this guy. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Can I swear today?
Absolutely.
What's up, you fucking nerds?
I love that. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
You're here.
This is fun.
You're pretty. You got pretty eyes, man.
Dude, that's how I got my wife.
Pearson, dude.
I got my wife that way,
Well,
yeah.
get in line, lady.
That sure wasn't my personality.
Definitely wasn't. Never mind.
Yeah, no. But anyways, talking gear, I've been a fan of yours for tons of time, and we've met when I toured CME years ago, but I've been a fan of Band Royale. Thank you, algorithm. Just as it happens, and it's so cool that we reached out. We're happy to be in Chicago. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So here we are doing the rig rundown with Mark and the boys. Mark, tell me about your gear. Got to talk about these Sandbergs.
Yeah, working at CME for a long time, we were a dealer for Sandberg.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with them, like, right out of the gate as soon as I put my hands on one. And so eventually, I made the transition to start working for them 6 years ago now.
Wow.
And now I just get to play and talk about my favorite basses like all day long. So first up is this California TT4 Passive. This one came, we were working on a prototype for a minute, like with a different neck style. And so I just brought this body back, and then I happened to have this neck laying around, and I just popped this in, and it just has that classic sort of 70s growl, even though the pickup spacing's not there.
Yeah.
And then I actually reached out to Alex Avedissian and had some like 70s style J-bass pickups put in here. So it's got a nice like Rick growl to it. It's like that like Geddy Lee thing.
Yeah.
A good J style bass is I think really important to have in the arsenal. Cuts through really well. So yeah, Sandberg California TT4 34-inch scale. It's passive. Just rips.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what it does. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, two questions that come to mind is like, for a band like what you're doing is, what are you trying to get? I know you mentioned Geddy already, and off camera you mentioned another big one for you is Les. But what are you trying to do in this band bass wise that you need? Then this bass services it.
Yeah. So a lot of our songs are very effects driven. Distortion, chorus, modulation effects, and stuff
Yacht
like that.
metal.
And I think, Yacht metal. I don't know why we came up with that. We love Mastodon and Steely Dan, and like that a little. But I found that with effects, running an active circuit, it doesn't always, like, you naturally want to boost the bass and stuff like that. And putting that into an effects chain, it just doesn't always agree in the best of ways. And so I felt a good passive familiar tone was the way to go. And I love the body shape. And so switching, I switch between fingerstyle and using a pick and stuff like that. I don't really slap with the band yet. But this would lend itself really nicely to that.
Okay.
And it's just, some of the greatest rock, space rock, yacht metal, whatever hell, like this makes an appearance at some point in most bands' iterations.
Yeah.
So it's just at home.
So you have a unique perspective of the gear culture and gear life because you worked at the retailer for so long and now you're affiliated with a brand. But, having such time being affiliated with CME and Reverb, it's like you come across so much gear. How are you able to decide, like, this is what I need, this is what I want? Because it's kind of like a overabundance, probably what you've seen and get acquired with.
Well, part of it's getting older and just like finding what you like and just kind of sticking with it. And so, like I said, with regard to Sandberg, like I knew it's going to be a really good thing. Like I know it's going to be like a nice quality, and it checks all of my boxes aesthetically, sonically, and like just in terms of the longevity of the instrument. It has a track record of doing all those things. So it's like buy once, like never have to buy it. Like buy it right once, and then you have to worry about it ever again. So that does work with this. Being surrounded by just every amazing instrument.
Yeah.
Like I was, Joel and I would often joke that it was like an unfair advantage when it comes to having all that music gear at your disposal. But over time, I found that, step one is in the hands.
Yeah.
And so I think that every piece of gear, even like the shittiest Dan Electro pedal, has a purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you sometimes have to really, really search for it to find it. But having the luxury of having all this stuff around you, it's like, oh, I know how to get from point A to point B really quickly with this piece of gear. And so I think it's just learning for so long, like what everything does and just what speaks to me and my hands and idiot brain.
Well, should we keep cruising along through the bases?
Actually, while I've got this one on, I'm going to show this off. This is my favorite little toy that has come out in the past decade plus. This is a backbeat. This is the Gen 2. There's the first generation's a little bit different design. This thing, when I first saw it, I saw like the Kickstarter that came out. And I was like, oh, it's a vibrating like rumble pack, like a butt kicker, essentially, like drummers would use.
Yeah.
So I saw it and I'm like, oh, it's like a Nintendo 64 rumble pack. That's kind of cool. I kind of want to fuck with that, but I don't want to just take a chance. What if it sucks? And so they happened to be at the Summer NAMM in Nashville that year. That seemed like 2017 or something. And I was there. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go check that out. And so I went to their booth and I was like, hey, I'm Mark, I work at CME. Like, I've heard a lot of good things about the thing. And they're getting endorsed by like Billy Sheehan and Victor Wooten, all those guys. And so they put the bass on me. It has a headphone out. It has an auxiliary in. They put the headphones on me. So I'm just playing direct. And he's like, yeah, just play a few things. And I'm just playing on this like uncomfortable bass. And I'm just kind of like, I'm not really liking the way this sounds. And he's like, all right, I'm going to turn up the sub on your pack. And he starts turning it up slowly. And immediately I'm like, whoa! I'm like playing changed immediately. Because you can feel every single note. It's like standing, like leaning against an 810 cab. But you're not beholden to be in one spot. You can just be wherever you want. You always feel like that rumble on your back. And then he started to dial it out. And I had this just vicious reaction, like caveman again. I was just like, you better fucking turn that back on, man. Like I was so legitimately upset. And I was like, well, I need to buy this because, and I like refuse to play without it.
Really?
Like even practice at this point. Yeah, it's just because when you're playing in situations when you can't necessarily hear yourself, you can't feel the instrument, you play differently, you dig in more, you like your hands are in an awkward position more, and like you tense up more. This has eliminated all of that for me.
Okay.
Some people like it, some people don't. And as I get more into playing with in-ears, this is such a great tool to have. I mean, like in the Nashville scene, I think like a lot of places on the Strip, from what I understand, they don't allow for backline. Yeah. Right? So you're just playing like a preamp and then that goes to front of house. And then you either have your ears or wedge and stuff like this. I think this would be a really great in between. But big fan, the backbeat.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think it's also Bluetooth capable. Like I think they're working on like an app so you can actually like
Such a
adjust
unique...
the frequency, attenuation, and shit. So like guitar players can play with it. Like actually, Joel plays in such low tunings. We were just dicking around with it like a couple months ago. And he like had it on. He was like, "Oh man, this actually feels awesome. It's like I'm sitting on top of the amp."
Wow.
Yeah.
I noticed in the cables here, like what's going on there with the connections?
Yeah. So they started finally. They made this really awesome Y cable situation. So it plugs into the side here of the unit, and then it splits. So you have one going into the bass. The bass goes to the unit, and then the other one is is where you can plug your other connector that goes to your pedal board or to your. So this is the out, essentially. And so you plug your a normal 1/4-inch cable into that. So yeah, big fan, huge fan, really cool toy. So this next one. This is the Sandberg VS4 passive, and the same kind of thing. It was sort of a Franken bass, one of our Masterpiece aged ones, and it came through, and I fell in love with it. I like being around old vintage instruments. I've always found that Sandberg's relic jobs, that was like one of the first things that attracted to me, like from the sales side, because of the trend towards that.
Yeah.
But it looks like having something like this come in, and then having a real 57, 58 P bass that has similar aging, and like putting them next to him, and then like seeing all the other manufacturers who do like the relic thing.
Yeah.
And some of them aren't even close, but this is like so close to it. And there's also, with the Masterpiece aging, there's some other, it's not just aesthetics that's going on here. We also do this vibration treatment. I'm not sure if you know, like there's like violin makers who will find like the center frequency or like the frequency range where that instrument sits, and they'll pump music like vibration into it over like hundreds of hours to simulate like years of playing gigs and doing that. So it breaks it in essentially.
Yeah, like Jason Isbell in a rundown we did said he did that with his Martins. He would put Outcast.
Yeah, the
and
little
bump
thing.
It, yeah,
exactly.
Bump it right through the
So with this, it's the same concept, right? Where we like have. Are you familiar with like Ike amplification?
Yes,
the bass
I am.
company.
E-I-C-H,
So Thomas,
yeah.
So Thomas Ike, he did Tech Amp first, and they had like the pleasure boards, like those boards that vibrate that you stand on. So we got one of something like that from him, and then it clamps to this whole like unit where we like clamp it all down and everything, and we just pump hundreds of 100 hours of bass playing through the speakers, or through that like that sub essentially, and it just kind of vibrates in the space. So we did years ago, this is before my time, a study with, I believe it was like the University of Dresden in Germany, with their physics department, and like acoustics, and like there's like measurable differences. There's like a control study and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's some science behind it. It's kind of cool. And then also we do a thermo treatment. I know like for guitar players that would be more like torrefication and stuff like that.
Yep.
So with the necks, like we'll roast them. That also changes the wood on a cellular level or whatever. Did some like proper studies as well to do that, just to show that. So this would be like the most simulated, like vintage sounding and affected instrument. But this one in particular, very, very familiar sound and style. I think again,
yeah, can we hear it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
every bassist should have, something like this in their arsenal. I think the sound people just love it. It's easy to mix. Also had Alex Avedisian put like a 60s style P pickup in there. So this is right now I'm going as clean as I can.
Okay.
I don't even know what to play. It's probably not even in tune. Just old school P bass sound, the tone rolled off, and then like I'll put like I'll like run this. I've got like the Quad Cortex just came out with a new update, so you can put like some of the plugins that you own. So like the Parallax bass distortion plugin, I love it. It rips. It's just a cool split coil vintage style bass.
Right on.
But yeah, so that's that guy. This one gets a lot of love, just because I can just go into any environment with something like this.
Yeah.
Like a lot of lot of like solo artists and stuff. Like I don't play with, but I've heard so many tales of like, you know, especially like music directors would be like, "Yo, you got a P bass," and this fits that without having to play one. So this one is actually the 48. This was the prototype. It came out in 2015. I took the knobs off. I don't even know why. Probably because it's like I tinker with shit. It's just like don't touch them. But this was the prototype. Because while I was working at CME, I got around Thunderbirds and stuff and love that sort of offset. You know, I'm a big guy.
They're
it
cool.
It covers a lot of real estate, right? Covers this up, you know, like when I wear my skinny jeans, you know? And so I also am quite fond of Shoreline Gold. The first video I'd ever done for CME was for a 66 Shoreline Gold P-Bass. And so when I sent some emails to the Sandberg rep at the time and said, hey, wouldn't it be cool? Sandberg already does this sort of like J&P style, like would they ever do something, you know, like this? And right away, he got back and the CEO was like, yep, he's in, he's drawing up designs, we'll let you know what you think. I had originally pitched this as an exclusive for CME. And so like the early ones that came in had the CME logo sort of branded into the back of the headstock. And then other dealers around the world for Sandberg were like, yo, we want that.
We want in.
That's cool. So it took off really well. And so I got the very first one. And so with that, you probably can't see with the camera. Maybe when you do it with B-roll, you'll see the serial number I had him put in, the number 15, and then HLSN, which is my son's birth year, and also this is birth year.
Oh, nice.
And then my son's initials.
Perfect.
When they came in. And Holger, the CEO of Sandberg, likes to call it the golden baby. So this is the first one, and it's gotten the most playing time with Royale, because this was my first like unique instrument that was like mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then also that brings me to the last one, which is same one, same style. So this actually, I should mention that these have the Sandberg like 48 pickups.
Okay, I was going to ask about that.
It's essentially like a humbucker, like kind of like Music Man style humbucker. And then this one is like same sort of casing, but more like a split coil.
And passive though?
So both of these basses, that one's active still. It has a 2-band EQ,
okay,
like bass and treble. This one, I actually had wired my friend Sean Lefkowitz from Tyrant Tone. He builds cabs and stuff. Great dude. I had him wire this one like almost like, first of all, passive, like straight passive, took out the active circuit. And he found an old schematic from an old P-bass. So he like got like old caps, like paper oil caps and stuff, and wired this passive. So it's just volume and blend and tone, passive tone. And this is a producer's knob. It does nothing. It's great. It's just kind of like that Lee Sklar thing. So he's like, I didn't want to like fill in that hole. I figured you might want to put it, you know, active again. I'm like, leave the knob on there. That's perfect. It'll be my producer's knob like Lee Sklar. This is kind of great. So this one's cool because I'm in another band. We do like a lot of doom and heavy, like black and metal Huntsman. Okay. And so I wanted something that had that sort of like murdered out aesthetic as well, with like the black headstock or the black neck, and then like the reverse headstock to just kind of make it a little meaner looking. But this one has my other son's initials and birth year.
Got to make him feel included.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is their heirlooms, I think. But I love it. Yeah, it's my sad boy bass.
Well, want to grab the first one you talked about, and then we can kind of hear the rig.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So far we kind of we dabbled a little bit with the neural, but what do we got here, amps and cab wise?
Yeah. So another company I've come across over the years is Bergantino. Jim and Holly Bergantino they're like the best aunt and uncle, essentially. Like your favorite aunt and uncle who actually like listens to you and you can have real conversations with. So Jim is such an amazing engineer. I first came across his stuff, doing shows where you share a backline and the bass player would show up with it was like an early NV610, which is like the flagship cab. That thing, that's one of the best cabs ever made. And then eventually he started making amps and working at CME. I was just like, man, it's like high quality stuff. Everybody universally respects his stuff. I want to get him into the store, and then I started to build a relationship that way with them. They had come out with the earlier versions of these amps called the Forte, which is just like a simple knob tweak. Like anybody who like wants to just plug and play, that's what these are designed for. Okay. And then in 2019, I did this thing for Sandberg. It was an event that Labella Strings, you know them, in New York. They do this thing called the Lords of the Low End. They have this like showroom, and a bunch of different manufacturers, like a little trade show, and with all these different manufacturers like Sandberg and Gensler, you know, Aguilar, and then Bergantino was there. And so the night before, we're all setting up, and I was by myself because the other guys are in Germany, right? And so Jim and Holly show up, and Jim's like, "You're a big distortion guy, right?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, that seems to be pretty obvious by now, right?" And he's like, "I got something for you tomorrow to check out." And so he took an early version of this head, the Forte D, which has the drive, and he went to his hotel and reprogrammed the drive to a circuit and sound that, like, with different crossovers or whatever, you know, math.
Science stuff.
Yeah, that he knew that I would like. And so, like, the next day the show starts, and he's like super, like, he's like, "Hey, when you get a chance, come on up." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah, as soon as there's like a lull, I'll head up there." And then like midday he comes down, and he's like, "Hey, there's no mind, do you want to come? I can have Holly hang down here at the thing if you want." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So she comes and like hangs out at the Sandberg booth. I go up with him, I walk up to it, I play like 6 note, and I'm like, "Yep, this is the sound." It was just like gnarly, awesome distortion, like way over the top, more over the top than what he had originally put in there.
Yeah.
And then from what I understand, I don't know if this is true, but I remember distinctly, like, apparently like 2 guys walked up and like, "Yeah, I got to buy that." And it was awesome.
Wow.
And so eventually I was just, you know, I was just like, I really want to support these people, especially after Holly, that same show, she was like, "Mark, have you eaten anything?" Like I said, like the best aunt ever, right? And I was like, "Oh, I was going to get a burrito after this." And she's like, "Hold on, you allergic to peanuts?" It's like, "No." And she comes downstairs, and it was like the greatest, most delicious peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've ever had in my life. And like,
Are you a crust guy?
I'll eat the crust.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like good bread.
Yeah.
But so like, she like hooks it up, this amazing PB&J. Obviously, there's like some special ingredient in there, and you can probably guess what it was.
Yeah.
And it was love.
Yeah.
And it was, you could taste the love. No, it was amazing. And so eventually I actually started working with them right around the time where he came out with the Super Pre pedal, which we'll get into in a bit. And then we all lead up to this guy, which is the newest. This is actually another prototype. This is the original Forte HP. It was originally like a 1200 watt amp, and it's seen a few changes over the years. Like eventually got to the HP2, which has like a little bit more output. HP2X, which has this Cinemag transformer in the input. So like you get that nice like upper harmonic distortion that's real subtle, but it just makes the lows and low mids really pleasant. And then it's the same head case. He found this 2000 watt power module that fits perfectly into this box. And so he took this one and he put that module in there. So this is actually a 2000 watt head, and it's become the Forte HP Ultra. So all the same like architecture. He's known for his low pass filter, which is probably the most useful tone shaping tool that's out there. When you dial it all the way up, that's sort of like the default setting. If you want like more of a vintage sound, I kind of roll it back here. In favor, like, you know, like 1.7 hertz. It's just awesome. I mean, like there's really not much dialing that you have to do with this amp. And I found with the Ultra, with the 2000 watt guy, I don't need to have this jacked up as much to fit through the mix. I've actually found myself turning down a bit, and my bandmates are like, I can hear the bass better than ever, even though the volume is less.
Yeah.
And I also like we can hear each other singing and shit a lot more, and it was awesome. It was just like, it's just I think what it is that efficiency of 2000 watts, and everything's kind of moving exactly as it should.
Yeah.
It's just it's not overpowering the speakers as one would think. So then that brings us to this guy. This is the HDN 112. This is like the predecessor essentially to it's like the NXT series.
Okay.
So it's like a neodymium speaker with a nice tweeter. And then this one down here gets more play time.
15?
This is a reference 310.
Oh.
So 310-inch ceramic speakers. Jim loves working with ceramics. They just sound awesome. Like, yeah, they're heavier speakers than the neodymium, but for an audiophile, that's just the way to go.
Yeah.
And it's actually not, it's the way that it's constructed, there's some Baltic birch in there, and like it's just a lighter ply as well. So it's already not as heavy, but it's balanced really well. And then the ceramic speakers don't add too much weight to it. It sounds magnificent. Yeah, and I actually, most of the time I put this 310 when I'm playing live, I'll put this 310 on the reference 115.
Okay.
Which, you know, they work really well together.
And what's the Super Pre up here?
Yeah, so this is the, like, souped up preamp. You know, you've got, you can see, like, the 4-band EQ. There's all sorts of stuff under the hood. You know, I named this one Thick with 2 C's. this preset. You've got, like, 21 different presets to work with. You can like, cycle through and see, like, the low pass filter, high pass filter, the variable ratio compressor, what type of compression. Is it series? Is it parallel? You know, is it like a 50-50 blend? You can have, like, different types of effects like overdrive, distortion, fuzz, how much drive you want, you know, how loud you want it to be. There's a crossover frequency too, which is especially useful when you're using overdrive. And then like how much of the effect you want to blend in. And then recent firmware update, you can adjust the center frequencies of the 4-band EQ, how much gain you want going in as well, what frequency. So I kind of favor 80 hertz, and then what the shape of the Q is. So right now I have it wide. So as you turn up or down, it's kind of a wide spectrum, and then you can go medium or narrow or even notch. Just if you want to dump, if you're in a room where you need to, like, dump 500 hertz for whatever reason, you can do that.
Okay. Which
is kind of rad. So this goes into the Neural Quad Cortex, the Neural DSP Quad Cortex. Been a fan of Doug Castro since he was doing Dark Glass stuff. Him getting involved with Neural and the plugins and stuff, and then having a piece of hardware that does what this does. I mean, you all know what the Quad Cortex does.
It's a powerful thing.
It really is. It does everything. The latest firmware update, or like the Cortex, it's like the 3.2.
Okay.
Where they introduced the parallax, like their bass distortion plugin. I love that. A lot of times I'll just, when I'm recording or even doing demos, it sounds, I'll end up, like, doing scratch bass, me going into an interface and then into the parallax and adjusting it. And, like, that might end up being, like, what the end result is, as a, you know, because of that. And so with the newest firmware update, they brought the parallax into the unit. So now, since I have the license for the parallax, it just ended up on this thing.
Got it.
And the shaping on it's awesome. It's got, like, a low compressor. You got mid drive, high drive, and a whole bunch of, like, different, like, you know, frequencies to play around with. And I love this because, like, the modulation effects are awesome. Like, I'll do, like, this is like the, like, sort of like atmospheric, like, space delay reverb type thing. Like, do, like, swells, just trails forever. Stuff like that, and it's like, you know, like, the drummer's like, oh, I gotta go pee, or, you know, the guitar player's like, oh, I broke a string, I could just, like, vamp doing stuff like that, and just, you know, everyone's like, cool, drugs are awesome. Yeah. that's what this does. And then, like, I got, like, a slap back with, like, a cool, like, slap back delay with the parallax included. This is just straight up Meat City. So a nice, like, blend, which I also like that you can control so many different parameters, like even, like, the splitters that are in your chain. You can, like, choose if you want, like, for this scene, you know, I stomp on F, and, like, this is, like, the 50-50 dirty, clean, and, like, the chorus is mixed way more in there, and then I go to, like, my clean setting and all that's turned off. Or if, like, I'm playing, like, you know, like a atmospheric thing, you want to let that run, like, switching over to the song, like, I can start playing, you know, get the volumes turned up, but, like, you could see, like, you could hear the trails kind of, like, naturally go
still there,
where in other stomp boxes, like, you'll click between the effects and it's just like a hard stop. So I love that they included that on there. But yeah, it's just a computer, you know. It's just all it is, just an awesome computer with really great user interface.
Tone computer.
Yeah, exactly. And then
you get the last kind of standalone here.
So this just came to market. I haven't used it in a recording sense or a live sense outside of, like, a few demo videos and stuff. But MXR got together with Ian Allison, who, like, is part of the Scott's Bass Lessons crew. Great fucking dude. Love that guy. I love him. He's awesome. He's a great public speaker.
Yeah.
Just awesome guy. Has a good ear for this stuff. And they've been working on this for the past, I think, 2 years, but it's a bass synth. It's the MXR bass synth. And they took classic sounds from like, you know, Quincy Jones, like, you know, like Michael Jackson's Thriller and Herbie Hancock, Chameleon, like that sound, Parliament's Flashlight, not Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel with Sledgehammer, and that OC2
there's a lot of reference
sound.
points,
Yeah, and it does it all like out of the box. Like that's the thing. Like you can like it comes with 8 different presets already. You can control what type of oscillation you want, like a sawtooth or I think it's like sawtooth. Square wave, and what's the other one? Triangle?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So, or sine, I think. But it's awesome. Out of the box, it's great. There's some under the hood features, like, you know, like secondary layer menu.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, some bass players are like, oh, it doesn't track really well, or there's some latency and stuff. I found that playing a passive bass through it out of the box, I don't have to go under the hood to adjust stuff. But going active or something that has hotter pickups, you might have that kind of latency that kind of gets in the way of things. So you can adjust like the input gain, you can adjust the glide and all of that stuff. And I think those are important things that people have overlooked. But just like, you know, kicking it on, this might like, you can hear like that, like the, what the flip, like. I'm playing terribly.
But that sound is there.
Yeah, it's just that's like the sound, or like that. What's that? Like a prayer. It's like a. Is it Guy Pratt?
Yeah, I think
he
so.
played the
Yeah.
original bass line and then they doubled it with synth. It just sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So love this thing. Like with this guy's like. Or you could do like the Toe Jam and Earl theme. But I don't. Yeah. But it's just super cool. I love it. It's a fun toy. It makes me not have to learn proper synth bass lines, and just kind of like a nice little cheat code.
One less thing to worry about.
So I'm still finding a way to work it in. Actually, before this came out, I came up. I was like, there has to be a way that I can like kind of make my own synth sounds, and I got real obsessed.
Dope bass synth.
Yeah. There's that song. Do you ever see the movie Bronson? I mean, you fucking look like him.
No,
right?
I haven't.
Oh man, so it's about like Britain's most notorious criminal.
Yeah.
Charles Bronson, and it was Tom Hardy. Awesome movie. And there's a sequence where they have a song by this band called Glass Candy. And it's like a digital Versicolor, I think. And so I was like, I gotta find a way to get that sound on here. And then I realized that they have a tremolo on here that you can adjust, and like, you know, you can control the wave format on there. So I have the sine going down, and it has that like, oh, I have the wrong thing. There we go. A little slower actually. Yeah. Like speed it up.
My organs are trembling.
Oh yeah, it's super good. You can get some like brown note, like if you're feeling like a little like backed up, you just like put that and this on, you know. You can just dick around all day long. You know? So I love that, but you know, I unless this is going like direct in ears with the drummer, there's no like practical application for that just yet. But we've had some like little jams here and there in between songs, and I'll just like kick that on and just have this like cool synth vibe to it. And now I don't have to worry about like having some sort of tempo-based modulation effect. I can just go to that thing and kind of scratch that itch as well.
Well, right on, Mark. Your rig is beautiful. It sounds awesome. I can't wait to talk to the other guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Hey everybody, I'm John Bollinger with Premier Guitar. So, as many of you know, D'Addario has been a longtime friend of PG, sponsoring Rig Rundowns, and they're a longtime friend of all the players with their Players Circle rewards. I've been using it for years, and essentially, they will reward you for the gear you buy. Open it up, look inside, and there's a reward number. It's free and easy to sign up for. And as soon as you sign up, you immediately get some reward points just for putting your name in. After a while, you accumulate enough where you can buy more of this fantastic D'Addario gear. So as a Players Circle Rewards member, you get discounts on custom products and merch, you get free shipping, and you get a discount on the gear you're buying with your points or free gear, depending on that. And if you're charitable, you could donate your Players Reward points for musical education. So collect those points, buy the great gear, and let's get back to more rundowns.
All right, now we're joined by Joel, another familiar face. Joel, how you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Doing great.
Thanks for having us at the band house.
Of course.
It's a special treat.
It's, you know, it's got its own kind of
There's charm.
mythos at this point, the band house. But yeah, it's great.
You guys have made it a cool space, and you got a lot of cool gear, so tell me about it. This
We
is
do.
A fun little treat you got right here. You got Gibson. You got another one behind us that we'll talk about, but let's start with the Les
Yeah,
Paul.
I got a lot of stuff. But the best thing, we'll start with number one, I guess. I wouldn't say it's the first real guitar I purchased because, like, I had a handful of Gibsons, like an American made, you know, where like when you're a kid, you think like, that's like a real guitar.
Yeah.
But this one was the first guitar that I actually spent like real money on.
Serious, yeah.
And 72 custom. It's all original, other than the tailpiece. I have the original tailpiece. I gotta be honest with you, I have no idea where it is. It's a bummer. I lost it. A long time. I had a B7 Bigsby with the Vibramate and stuff, so you didn't have to like add. So, but I had a Bigsby on this for years, and sometime in between then and now, I lost the tailpiece. But it's here. I just don't know where it is. But yeah, it's all original. It's awesome. It has the embossed Gibson logo pickups.
I love that. Those are cool.
Which they, early 70s patent number. They're not like the original patent, but they're stamped. They're great sounding pickups. It's a little noisy just because, again, it's an older guitar, but like it's something that, like, I've used it on every record. I don't really take it and play it live very often just because this one, if something happens to it, like, I'd be really bummed out, and I can get 95% of the way there with guitars I'm not as sentimental about. Mm-hmm. But this one's like my number one. I love this one. It's refretted sometime well before I ever owned it, and it sounds great. It's really bitey. It's incredibly heavy. It weighs like 11. And again, like I had a Bigsby B7 with a Vibramate, which
Just
is
an
another
anchor.
like, yeah, it used to weigh like 12 pounds for a while when I played this thing, and then I, developed like early onset scoliosis, and I decided to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like my number one. A lot of everything I've recorded has this guitar on it for the most part. It's a little bit bitier, and snarlier than traditional humbucker guitars, I think, because it's just lower output, older pickups.
Okay.
And but it sounds great, and it definitely has like a little bit of weird magic to it. And then again, the it's been refretted, but the refret was like small vintage style frets. I don't know why you would do a refret and then
go
like
that way.
and like opt for small frets. Someone did.
Yeah.
But I've gotten used to it. So there are some dead spots in certain things. It's not like the best recording guitar for certain things because like when you get past X fret, there are areas that don't ring out the way they're supposed to. But it sounds amazing. I love it. I'll never get rid of it. It's inflation. It's worth way more than I paid for it at this point. And it's never broken, even though it's like I don't know if you can tell how thin. It's paper thin.
Wow.
Like absolutely paper thin, like 0.78 maybe, like paper thin at the first fret.
How long have you had it?
2013, 12 maybe. So this was like a Chicago Music Exchange purchase. Obviously, I used to work there.
Yeah.
And you get access to a lot of cool stuff pretty quick.
Yeah, I kind of asked Mark about that. Like, you get such a deluge of like information and gear. How are you sourcing that stuff for what you're personally doing, and then how it reflects to Band Royale? Because it's just like a fire hose coming at you guys with like gear and chances and stuff.
So that's the thing. Like early on, like it's like almost too much to deal with, and so you like my guitar collection right now is in like the 12 to 15 range, and it used to be like in like the 20 to 25 range.
Yeah.
Because things would just like be a good deal and it would show up. You're like, oh, I want that. And then once you have it, you're like, I just spent $1,000 on an effects pedal that I'm going to use for like one track of one overdub of one song.
Yeah.
Like, why do I have this 12-string Dan Electro?
Pragmatism kicks in.
Yeah, and like the first time you have to restring it, you're like, well, fuck this. I'm just gonna. Sorry.
No, you
Like,
go
I'm
for
just
it.
I'm gonna sell this because I'm never gonna restring it. I'm never gonna be able to keep it in tune, whatever. And you kind of like, I think you get older and you start to like whittle it down to like what actually makes sense.
Yeah.
And especially there, it was after like that initial rush of like gear acquisition syndrome that you get working in a place like that. You start to like kind of fine tune like what you're looking for specifically. Like I have a need. I need this type of thing. Like I don't have a Gretsch Bigsby sound, so I need something that does that. And so
Yeah.
you end up finding something that does that, or like I need this thing for this, and you end up finding stuff. And then sometimes stuff shows up, it's just so cool and it's such a good deal because somebody did things to it that are like horrible, but I didn't do it. It's already done.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Like you refinished it with some bizarre, awful choices. And I can just like buy it, like make it cool, but I get a thing for cheap. So it's kind of like some stuff you just like get because it's cool and it's there.
Yeah.
And other stuff you get because you need it. But like I'm definitely at the point now with the band where it's like only thing that ever comes in is stuff that is specifically needed. You know, acquisition, you start running out of space.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's either space or cash. Those are the two things.
Most things in life, you know, space and cash.
Yeah. Well, before we move on to the guitar, like you've talked about it, can we hear
Yeah.
the snarl?
So this one I have tuned up. I use a weird tuning a lot in this band, but specifically with this guitar where it's like an open D6.
Huh.
So it's like a... So clean, it's thick, little chimey, the neck. But you throw a little gain in front of it.
God.
So it sounds good.
Yeah.
It handles gain really well. The problem is, like, they're so low output that you'll kind of dial things in, and then you
Put something else.
grab something else, and it's like overdriven to the point where it's compressed and weird, and you have
Yeah.
to dial things back. So at this point, whenever I play stuff live, or even for recording or jamming, there are just certain types of things that I use this for, in the band setting outside of recording, and
Okay.
it's usually like the open tuning where it's a lot of like dirty clean, like not super overdriven, more of a dirty clean type of sound, because it's got like a chime and a weird otherworldliness. Because again, how kind of low output, and you could, even though it's a humbucker, you can kind of hear a little bit of, you get some 60 cycle hum that like sneaks out because I don't think that the coils are balanced perfectly, right? Quieter in the middle. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't use this for a lot of super heavy stuff anymore because it squeals like a fucking pig, dude.
Yeah.
Like a stuck pig. It just goes, "Wah!" And it's not fun recording, especially with like a noise gate where it's just choking everything. So but again, I don't want to like mess with it. I don't want to, I could swap out the pickups for pickups that I know are amazing, but I have multiple
Other
other
things, yeah.
guitars that look just like this and play just like this that I don't have to worry about messing with the originality. So this one kind of is what it is. And it's my number one, but it's actually not really these days the most
Played.
played. That's good. It's not. It's my number one. It means the most to me, but it's not the most played because there are a lot of other things that are, like sometimes you need a Camry, right? And it's like cool to have.
I
Like
got an Accord.
It's cool to have like
Yeah.
a stick shift Datsun in the garage, but like it's not very practical for getting groceries.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to like get groceries with the guitar. You just need like meat that sounds good, that doesn't squeal, doesn't feedback. And this one, as much as I love it, it's an old guitar and it has old guitar issues. And so it's kind of like I break it out like, in the time of need, but like I always use it specifically with any of these like kind of weird open string, weird voicing. I use a lot of alternate tunings, and like
Okay.
this is one I use for whenever I'm doing like clean, dirty clean, overdubs for like texture, things like that.
All right. Well, as you grab another guitar you want to talk about, how did you land on that tuning?
Well, that tuning specifically, it's a pretty short story. I just ripped it off. I've always been a big fan of the band Grizzly Bear,
Okay.
and the guitar player Dan Rosen from Grizzly Bear is like an immense guitar player, but like not like in the traditional Guitar Hero sense, not like a Steve Vai type of thing, like more of a really bizarre voicings and and also like what he can do, the complexity while he's singing too, just really weird stuff.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of songs. Like I always, even when I first started playing guitar, like I learned to play guitar by just learning to play my favorite band's songs. And it was just by ear, like listen to the record and figure it out. And then once in a while you'd be like, oh, that note doesn't work. Oh, it's because they tuned this, whatever. So I kind of like by ear would figure out alternate tunings and stuff. And he used this tuning that's, again, it's this open D6 tuning. It's like a drop D, but then you take the G and drop it to F sharp.
Okay.
And then you take the high E and you drop that down to D. So when you strum that chord, it's almost like a Hawaiian lap steel chord, right? And I started playing with it and I just discovered that like I kind of understood the geometry of the thing and like where chords sat and how they worked. And then with any type of open tuning, I feel like kind of the whole point is like getting like new, interesting, droning open strings based on the shapes that you're playing under it. And it was just like a totally like new, different world of like nostalgic, like sepia toned, like almost like silent film era type of like weird melodicism. And then I thought, I'll just steal that and then I'll just add gain and then, and then you know, try to turn it into like my own sort of thing. So I ended up using that a lot. But that's literally like I didn't think of it, just stole it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. I think like everybody, like you start playing stuff in Dadgad, like nobody thought of Dadgad. Like you heard Zeppelin and
Someone
you're like,
else,
cool.
yeah.
I'm gonna play Dadgad now.
Yeah.
So same type of thing.
Cool. Well, what guitar you want to talk about next?
I guess we'll just do this because this is my newest toy
Fun
and
story.
I'm so excited to show it and talk about it. This is Daniel's, who is a guitar builder from the UK. Everything's like one guy. Everything's master built like by hand from like start to finish. And it obviously looks like a
There's a certain look to it.
Les Paul custom, right?
Yeah.
And this is called the Royale 55. And this gentleman had reached out to the band through social media, and he was like, I really think that I'd love for Joel to play one of my guitars. I think you'd really like him. Here's the information. So I go on the website and I look at it, and I realize that the guitar is called the Royale 55. And I was like, that's a cool coincidence. It's called the Royale 55. And he's like, no, it's called that because like I actually love your band, and I know that you play a Black Beauty, so that's why it's called that. And I was like, are you kidding me?
That's a huge honor.
So yeah, it's immense, crazy.
Yeah.
No idea. And so the fact that he had done that, and it's as good as it is, and he was just generous enough to ship this to us so that I could use it on the new record and play it, and show it to you guys, obviously, for this. But it's, again, it looks like a Les Paul custom, and it's very similar, but the body, as opposed to being all mahogany, is Spanish cedar.
Reduce some weight.
Reduces weight, but it has a darker sound than like a maple or like poplar, a lot of like the standard kind of like non-mahogany body woods that you'd use.
Yeah. So
it has like a darker tonal nature of a mahogany, but it's way lighter. Like this weighs like 8 pounds. Like, I mean, this would change my life, Like, but then it still has like a 55 Les Paul would. It has a mahogany cap instead of a maple cap. So it's like a dark sounding body wood with a mahogany cap, which is also slightly darker sounding.
Yeah.
And then it has the P90s, and like true to form, they're Mojo is the brand, and it's a P90 in the bridge, and it's their actual staple Alnico P90 in the neck, which is a very different sounding P90 than what the bridge is, and it's almost close to like a Dynasonic almost.
Okay.
And so
Yeah, tonally, I don't know
It's-
much about them, but they look cool. You know
yeah,
what
I mean, it would be like
sonically.
it'd be like an early '50s duo jet with like those like the D-Armand like big single coils with like those huge slugs
Yeah.
for each thing, or even a Jazzmaster almost. And I'm not big on Fender guitars are great. I love them. I just don't play them. It's a scale thing for me.
Oh, all right.
I'm just so used to like the neck pitch angle and the scale of a Gibson style guitar, so I don't play a lot of Fender style guitars, but specifically the single coil, that fat single coil sound that you get from a Jazzmaster is something that like I don't have and I've always wanted, but this kind of like does that, but it feels like everything else I play. So it's kind of it has a little
cut
tummy
there.
contour, and then it has top of the neck here too. It has contour for the upper frets. So instead of having like this hard geometric angle you have to deal with, you can actually get up here and do stuff. And then the headstock, as you can see, it's like a slightly tapered, skinnier headstock, so you get no break angle, so it stays in tune. When you retune the G and the B string, it doesn't pop. It just does what it's supposed to, which is amazing. And this has been blowing my mind lately. This is my newest one. Again, it's Daniel's Guitars out of the UK. Amazing. Could not talk about it any more highly, because this is it's a master built, handmade Gibson for the
For
most
you.
part for me. Yeah,
For the band.
yeah. So yeah.
It's cool that it looks like he does a cool combination of like old school aesthetics, look, influences, but then some modern stuff that players want, like the neck.
Yeah, it's got all the stuff that's like important to have. Vintage spec is there, but the stuff that's like we have obviously like used science to move forward. We know that like having the break angle is not great for tuning, right? So it doesn't have that. We know that you get more access to the higher frets if you have a little bit of a contour. So it has the contour. It's hidden, you can't tell, but it's there. It's also, it's not double bound, which makes the back end, when you double bind the customs, like my 72, that corner like cuts into you. It's not super comfortable. And this doesn't have the back binding, so it's just smoother, and again, like the belly contour. So it's got a lot of modern, a lot of comfort features, I guess. But again, it's very vintage, like the vibe, the look, everything. It's aged. It looks.
Yeah, got a little.
It looks like an
relic
old
on it.
guitar. It feels like a brand new guitar, and that's kind of all you can hope for. So.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. Let's keep cruising through your stash here.
Sure.
What do we got next?
So this one is a 1962 Silvertone, like people call it the Chris Isaac guitar, because it showed up in the Wicked Games music video, which there's a lot more in that music video, if you remember.
Yeah.
Rolling around in the.
I don't really remember much of the guitar.
Rolling around on the beach, yeah. But it's one of those guitars that, like, if you know, you know. In the vintage world, again, it's a Silvertone. It's a bolt-on hollow body with mini humbuckers who are offset pulls, right? Like a 70s Tele thin line or something, right? But every bit of this that isn't nailed down, all of it was like high quality made by, so like the Bigsby was like a real Bigsby B7. The whole entire wiring harness is like an ES335 harness from 1962. So like a lot of people would buy these, gut them just to like get the electronics to like make their Gibson complete. The pickups were like designed and made by Gibson. Patent number, like mini humbuckers basically, but they're wide range mini humbuckers, which is again, it's unique. They're not standard mini humbuckers. And it's a fully hollow guitar, which again, you think about like Gibson, I don't know if they ever really made other than the Crestwood. It was a really weird hollow body relic of the late 60s. But there's not like a Gibson that's like fully hollow with mini humbuckers for the most part. And so it's just kind of like my like Gretsch, I guess if you call it that. I wanted something that was hollow that had a Bigsby that I could get that sound. When I got it though and I started playing it, it just sounded so good. It doesn't keep a tune at all.
I don't imagine.
It is brutal, but every time you're recording, you get like one pass, and then you go, oh shit, I can redo it. You get one pass, but when you get it, it sounds so good, and it feeds back in an incredibly musical way. It has like ghosts in it, I swear to you. Like you'll be feeding back with like reverb, a little bit of gain, and like notes will come out of it that make no sense harmonically with what your left hand is doing. So it feels like it's a little bit possessed, but it sounds amazing. I love this guitar. I've used it on like everything, but again, it's like a pain to use. But this is one of my favorites. I would love to get like something new that like did this, that was reliable.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, and I don't want to pay somebody like $10,000 to do it, but one day I'll have something that does this that isn't this. But until then, I'll just keep using this very difficultly whenever we record.
All its quirks.
And I can never use it live ever, even though I want to, because it's just absolutely unreliable.
By the end of the song, you're out of tune.
By the end of the first verse. But this is one of my favorite guitars ever. I spent as much time playing this unplugged, just.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's just like an acoustic in a way.
Yeah, I love this guitar. And these guitars, when I bought it, it was like $700 or something.
Nice.
And that was like right before people started to get really savvy with the internet.
Yeah, I got it.
Kind of know what they are. Now they're like $2,000 and people know what they are, but.
And still a dump truck.
Yeah.
But a beautiful one.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great guitar. Again, like you could have bought that on Sears and Roebuck. I almost said SearsandRoebuck.com. But you certainly couldn't have. You could have gotten like the mail order catalog and bought it, and they'd send it to you in parts, and you would just bolt it together. So,
jeez.
This is another one that is one of those guitars that, like, when I was still working at CME, it came in and it was like, it's obviously not right. This is supposed to have like this dumb little lipstick pickup. It's black that matches the thing, and somebody had like taken that out, routed it, and put an actual gold patent number neck pickup, like from like an early 60s ES335 or something in there.
Wow.
And it does one trick. It just does fat, hollow body neck sound. That's it, obviously. But it plays great. It's got the right, the right width of the neck. It's early 60s, so it's got the wider nut, and it sounds amazing. Feeds back a lot, but that's why we don't use a lot of gain with it, obviously. But this is one that's, again, like there's really nothing like it on the planet, because Gibson really didn't make this exact guitar from the factory. Somebody did it, but the fact that they used, this pickup is probably worth as much as the guitar.
Yeah, anymore, that's how it is.
So, yeah, this is another one of my favorites. Again, it gets used sparingly, on records for certain types of overdubs, and never use it live because, again, it's just not reliable in that way, but it sounds absolutely amazing. Oh, brass nut too, which is not cool, but it's there, and I'm not going to fix it. Okay, so this is a guitar. I love this guitar. It doesn't exist because it doesn't exist. Like, they never did this. This is not. It looks real though. We had some guy that come into Music Exchange, again like a decade ago, and this guy had 2 Mockingbirds that were both like juniors, like single pickup Mockingbirds, but they weren't real. He had hand built them. And again, why you would hand build a guitar clone of a guitar? It's not even worth that much money to begin with, right?
No.
So like what your end goal is, I'm not really sure. But it's not real. Somebody hand built it and made it look like it's real.
Yeah.
It's neck through, maple, mahogany. It's awesome. This is a Bill Lawrence dual blade. It's like passive 30K output. It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
Like ludicrous how hot that pickup is.
That's a dime bag thing. Yeah.
And I get brass nut, which is, again, you can tell when the guy made it, like probably mid-late 80s. And it came into CME, and it was like we couldn't ask a ton of money for it because it's not real, but also it's so good. It's like, how do you price it? Doesn't matter. I bought it. It has a sticker which is under the lacquer. Again, like, so that was a choice. Like, it's under the lacquer.
Yeah.
Like, he's very passionate about this weird moon thing. But just volume tone, a super, super high output bridge pickup. I use this. I've used this, weirdly enough, a ton recording, just specifically doing like the heavy low end, like down tune riffs. Like I usually have this strung up with like 12s, really heavy strings tuned down, like at least like a step or two for doing that type of thing.
What are you normally, 10s or 11s?
11s.
Okay.
11 to depends if it's a down tune guitar, like the low string or not. If it's a standard tuning, 11 to 50. If it's something where I'm going to drop it down to like, D or C, I'll do like 11 to 52 to 54. But this one has like the fattest. I think it usually has like a wound G on it, which it doesn't right now. But yeah, so this one's amazing. It's a one-trick pony, but it's the most aggressive one-trick pony. And again, they didn't actually ever make, to my knowledge, single pickup, Mockingbirds like this. But again, it was some guy, like, he came in. It wasn't even like we had to like figure it out. He was like, I built this. I made this.
So yeah, he didn't try to like.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to get anything over anybody.
it.
But again, like, not that it has anything to do with it. It's like, why? Like, why are we? It's one thing to like make a fake burst because a burst's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like to make like a handmade, the amount of time that went into like making that for a guitar that like you could have just bought like a really, 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 really good one for like $1,500. I don't know, but it's awesome. So I own it. I'll never get rid of it because I can't sell it for anything.
Yeah, no one's buying that.
And it also like it just does things that like no other guitar does, and yeah, it's awesome. That's the 72 double cut's kind of lame. It's fine. Okay, this one actually it's good one to show just because this is my actual, in the last half a decade or so, this has become kind of like my standard because it's just reliable and it does everything well and it feels good. This is a 1989 Les Paul Standard, and like if you know Gibsons, there's like a kind of a secret sweet spot, like that 88 to 93. There's just like really like the standard USA stuff can be like awesome. And this had like super high output, like those the circuit board pickups.
Okay.
Really, really high output. They sounded terrible. I ended up they sounded cool, I guess, if you're like in, if you're into that, it was cool.
Yeah.
I'm not. But I put these are Lawler low wind Imperials. Just fabulous sounding. Like if you just need like a across the board, great sounding, like sweet humbucker that's lower output, that does everything, that's quiet, that's like well made, that's wax potted so it doesn't squeal. Like I put them in here. It sounds great dirty. It sounds great clean. This is what every time we play, I use this at most of our shows. I record with it a ton. I had it refretted at CME way back in the day too. It weighs a shitload, but that's like the era. But it's also, when I bought it, it was already, like, it looks like a relic guitar. It's all real. All the wear is real. It looks like a Jimmy Page, like number one burst, but it's like actually all of it's like real. Even though I think it was poly at this point too, which is weird that it's like kind of shredded as much as it is, but really thin neck, nice jumbo frets, standard Clusons. I really didn't do anything to it other than just kind of like put better pickups in it, but this is like my standard Royale. If we're gonna like jam in the room, like riffy, you know, this is the one that I use because it's reliable, it sounds great, it doesn't squeal, it sounds amazing, dirty, clean, really rich, thick, harmonic, but like not like overly high output where it gets like woofy and compressed. So this is kind of my like, and when I was like a kid, like you would have never been able to convince me that I'd play like a burst Les Paul. And then nowadays, this is kind of like the one that I pick up the most. So yeah, it's amazing, weighs a ton, but great guitar. Great year too. Again, like late, like pro tip, late 80s, early 90s Gibson USA. You can buy like a studio Les Paul. It'll have a real ebony board. It'll cost you $900, and they're actually awesome.
Price might be going up now.
You're probably right. Yeah.
Do you want to start going through the amps?
Yeah. So the amps. This is the Carson's amplification. The Warm Machine. Brian Carson's used to be the amp tech at Chicago Music Exchange when I was there. And the entire time that he was working there repairing other people's amps, he was working on his own designs. And this was his first design. And it's called the Warm Machine because it's basically like a JMP 50 watt, like late 70s, like 1980 maybe, like master volume 50 watt Marshall.
Okay.
But all those amps are kind of well known to be a little overly bright. And that's why his is called the Warm Machine, because it's a warmer overall, like a more sonically pleasing palette that it covers, and like the EQ works is kind of the main thing. It like actually will like cut the volume or cut the treble and add, yeah. And so this is actually like legitimately like serial number 001. So it's like the very first one that he ever made. And I've been using this as like my kind of like basic rig platform for, you know, almost 2 decades.
Wow.
And then I've always used it. Me personally, it's not even about a sonic thing, because I know that like I've recorded enough big cabinets in studios that I know that a 412 and a 410, they sound amazing, but my back's not amazing. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to use that at a rig or at a gig and like have to like carry it up and down stairs and stuff like that. So I kind of like got in the idea of the 212. And then once I got into the 212s, I realized like, I kind of like it. The 212, it's like you get the low end, but it's a little bit more compressed, and like the noise, the actual noise floor and the directionality of it is a little more focused. It's not quite as spread as a 412. And so especially like when we were like, you know, in the practice space, like having the 212 on the ground especially, like it just cuts a little bit better, and it has the volume that you need. And so I've been using 212s for a long time, and this was a 68, 69 blonde. It was a Bassman cab, a 212 for like a head that wasn't with it, but I just love the look of it, the ox blood with the cabinet. And then I replaced the speakers years ago with creambacks actually, which sound amazing, especially for like a Marshall style. It's an EL34 amp.
It's a good pairing.
So that's been kind of my main rig for a very, very long time, and it still is my main technical rig, but like modern technology has made it so that like I'm able to kind of get there without having to like actually lug that around when I want to go places and stuff. And that's where like the other weird things that you see come from, where I switched over to, I didn't switch over fully, but like I got a quad Cortex. Mark turned me onto it, obviously. The bass player has had one and it just sounded amazing. And then when I started messing around with his unit on guitar, it kind of blew my mind what you could get out of it. And so I eventually hit them up, got a unit of my own. And the one problem I was having was I was playing that in front of the Warm Machine, even set clean. And then through the Fender, it was just so obviously, you never realized it because you're playing like analog, right?
Yeah.
It has such a color, and it's a beautiful color, but like that has all the color built into it. And so I needed something that was not colored that would reproduce my sound, right? And that's where like the other stuff came in. So I needed a good power amp that was clean, that would power that and give it volume. And I remember watching one of the rig rundowns, and I think it was the Kurt Ballou rundown, if I remember right. And he was using, I think it was the Digitech
Helix.
It was a Helix, what it was.
Yeah.
But he was using like the Quilters as like the power amps for it, and I was like, that's kind of ingenious, and they're not super expensive. They give a lot of power, and they're very small, right? You can put that in your gig bag. And so I just, on a whim, snagged one on Reverb for a pretty good deal, and plugged it in, and that sounded amazing. Like amazing. Kind of blew my mind. I was such a snob about solid state and digital for a long time. Like a lot of guys.
We can get our own way.
Exactly. And so like that, it kind of opened a whole new world to me. The fact that this thing could sound as good as it did and be what it cost and be the weight and the size that it is. And then I got enough into it where it was like, okay, I need to get a cabinet that's going to reproduce this sound without all that color of its own. And then Mark, who works with Bergantino, was like, well, they're actually working. It's a prototype, so you can't tell anybody. This is like a year and a half ago. He's like, they're going to do like a flat frequency response cabinet for specifically modeling type of things. It's like, oh, I would love to see that. And so they sent this, which is a 212 that has a tweeter built in, and absolute game changer. Like I cannot stress enough like the amount of like absolutely like uncolored, crystal clean headroom and like pure, just absolute like girth, power, low end, volume, headroom. It's unbelievable. Like I don't know, I've never gotten it loud enough where I ever even worried about that thing. It sounds outrageous. And so I was playing through the Quad Cortex, through the Quilter, through the Bergantino, and it sounded like bigger, louder, more natural than like most tube amps that I played through. And then like one day I was like, what if I just like plug my board that I normally do into the tube amp into the Quilter and the Bergantino, and with just a little bit of tweaking,
you were there.
It sounds kind of incredible too. And so now I've got this kind of like dual setup where it just depends. If I'm running like stereo stuff, I'll have them both going at the same time, like shooting like one's like wet coming out of here, and the dry is coming out of there. But the Bergantino cabinet, paired with all this stuff, has ended up being like just like a whole sea change for the way I think about guitar tone, and I think about like playing live, and like just it's opened up a whole new world to me. Like just amps that like I've always loved the sound of that I would never own because of the size or because of the price or whatever. Now I can get 99.9% of the way there with, and like even the Karstens, like even though I played a lot through the Cortex, I've modeled all this stuff. I've gotten captures of like the amplifier. I've gotten the captures of my favorite drive pedals and stuff, so I can get the exact sound that I use as my bass line with the whole analog rig out of the Quad Cortex now, but like with headphones on in my apartment. So it's just it's pretty amazing. Yeah,
you're living in the future and you're embracing it now.
And I was not that guy, but like, I'm gonna buy Skechers and get some, I'm gonna have like Velcro shoes pretty soon. Like yeah.
Well, let's hear this rig. I know you got some pedals here we can get into. Maybe if you want to grab your 72.
So the pedal board, I've got there's a couple pedals on here that haven't changed like ever since I got them. And like once I got them, I was like, well, that's it.
Which ones are those?
Specifically the Strymon. I have a Flint, which is reverb and tremolo, and then I have the El Capistan, which is what I've used for delay forever. I just love the sound of tape delay, the David Gilmour type of sound.
Oh yeah.
And once I heard both of those things, a decade plus ago, I was like, well, that's good. I don't have to worry about that ever again. And especially with like delay and reverb, where something new comes out every month.
Oh man.
I make a point to like not even read about it because I don't want to like.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get like excited about something. I don't want to, because it's so good and I know it like front to back, and like I know how it works and how it sounds. Like it's it's what I like. And also the Capistan having that like delay built into it, or the reverb built into it as well as the delay. Sometimes I don't even use the Flint, but so those two I've had that. They're the last things on the board, obviously, and they've been there forever. But the first thing on my board that's on always forever is the Durham Electronics, the Sex Drive.
Oh, Charlie Sexton, yeah.
Charlie Sexton Drive, and I basically use it with the gain down pretty low, and I just use it almost for like the compression. It's a preamp. It's like my, like my buffer basically. I leave it on forever, and I just love the way that like here's without, and here's with. It just adds a little life and body and color and like activity to the clean sound.
Yeah.
And then again, it hits everything else so much sweeter. So I just leave that on forever.
That's a good descriptive. I like that. I'm going to use that, activity. That's a good word on that.
It's yours, dude. And I have an EP booster. Like, I've had one forever. They sound good. I don't use it super often, but like when you want like, that's like my clean sound, which is like kind of a dirty clean.
Yeah.
The EP gets you like that little bit dirtier clean. and again, I just like the way it sounds. I don't use it super often, but it's just certain songs like need. I don't want to like reset the amplifier for different songs, you know, for like what my bass clean level is. So I'll set it super clean for me, and then I'll use the EP to kind of get to that slightly more dirty level that some songs require. And then this is an actual like 81 like real deal tube screamer. I was gifted it by a customer, Josh Klinghoffer.
Heard of him.
From the Chili Peppers?
Yeah, Pearl Jam.
Exactly. And it's real. I mean, it's there's no way to deny. It just sounds better and different than like normal tube screamers do. It's very mid-heavy, but the best part, like the real like magic, is when you use that with like. So I use for like live especially. I fell in love with the Friedman, the BE overdrive pedal.
Yeah.
For me, like that type of overdrive, I love that amp, but I just don't want to deal with that amp. You know?
Yeah. I can't afford it, so that's as close as I can get
can't
to
afford it.
Friedman.
Also, I don't need like 3 channels that have like 18 dip switches. Like I can't just like get like option paralysis, and I get like anxiety, and I start to sweat, and I stop playing guitar, and I start worrying about knobs and stuff. But I love the sound of that pedal, and so like. Sounds amazing,
yeah.
Right? Especially when you put it in front of like a good amp, it sounds great. But then like here's that. The tube screamer just like sort of tightens it up.
Gives a little glue.
Just a pinch, and especially for like lead stuff though, it's great because it doesn't really add an actual boost that you can hear, but it makes all your notes just sustain forever, and they sustain in like a very musical, instantaneously. It just does it.
Because you guys go in that Macedon Melvin's territory
Absolutely.
with the band, and so that the pedal combination.
Yeah.
gets you
So
there.
when it gets heavy, it gets very heavy, but it's not like it's there's different types of heavy. Like for us, for our band, for the sound, like the higher gain, the heavier sound is not like a super clean, like a Meshuggah type of high gain. It's more of like a little bit of like a soupier, like Melvin's is a great example. Like
Yeah.
Melvin's, like early Mastodon, that type of like where it's definitely like a Marshall with a boost, and you're dealing with what that entails. You know, it's not like there's no like noise gate. It's not perfectly clean. You can't just like stop and.
Yeah.
But again, that's okay. That's that's kind of like
What
part of
you're
the
chasing,
sound.
yeah.
And like again, like I like having like the ability to just kind of like let things go and have it like do something musical like right off the like again, it doesn't like squeal off into nowhere. It like gives me a note. It gives me a third or a fifth or an octave that's like very useful melodically with exactly what I'm doing right off the gate. Almost like like an EBO almost, but like on command. That's why I love that Friedman, because it kind of does it right, and then having a couple boosts in front of it just for a little extra added control.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everything else kind of like, again, other than like the reverb and delay, kind of live there forever, and the boosts kind of live forever. And then for me, the demodulation stuff, it just like changes depending on the year, my mood, what we're writing. I've had like, rotary type pedals, phasers, flangers. I had a Mobius for a long time, which I loved, but again, I just wanted to get away from having big digital footprint on the board and stuff. So right now I've got a Wazacraft CE2, and like every single Wazacraft pedal is like absolutely amazing. They're amazing. Like why would you buy the vintage one? Unless you're like collecting, that's one thing. But if you want the sound, like the Wazacraft nails everything. I have the VB2.
It gives you more,
I have
too.
the VB2, the DM2, the CE2. I think it might be it. But I have like, and this sounds like, it sounds like you're playing through like a CE2, except without the tone suck and with like true bypass, and like it's reliable and it's quiet.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's kind of like been my modulation thing lately. And then some of the newer stuff we've been jamming on, and some of it kind of comes from just like necessity almost, but like sometimes it was just me and Nate jamming. There's no bass player. I had the Pog on the board just to like throw in that like sub octave. And then what ends up happening is you start like playing with that and you start writing like 311 riffs, because like you get like that like
All mixed. Omaha style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Freaky style. Yeah. So you just, that's on there just almost because it's kind of but it's more fun to jam when you got the low end, when you got the ass, when you don't have an actual bass player.
Yeah.
But it's kind of stuck because, again, some of the riffs we've been writing, like, it requires that octave sound riff, like that old school, like Boss OC2 or whatever. That sound is kind of like, you can kind of get it with a good overdrive with that pedal, and then some of the riffs require it now, so it's kind of stayed on the board. But that's really it. Like, I try to keep the board like as, I used to have it really complex, and then especially when you sing and you play, it's not fun.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like doing the tap.
You're making it harder for yourself.
I don't want to like tap dance while I'm trying to sing, while I'm trying to play, and you like tap. It's really tough. So the less you can do, I feel like, also just like, it's just realistic, like subtraction, addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
It just sounds better, right? The less shit in the fucking signal chain, the better it sounds. So the more I would take away from it, the more I would hear like the actual guitar sound. I was like, that sounds amazing. And nobody out in the crowd cares if like this song has the perfectly dialed in flange, but this song has a slightly different dialed in phaser. And like no one, like they can't hear it, right?
No.
It's all about like just like how you're playing it, what it's getting across emotionally, and like most like modulation effects, they will give you that color change that you need, even if it's not the exact color change from the record or whatever. And so that's kind of like shrunk and shrunk and shrunk for me. And it's gotten to the point where it's like I can get through most gigs, you know, ideally with just like heavy drive, boost, and then like the delay, and then like, you know, the extra when it needs to happen. But, you know, again, it keeps getting smaller. And the nice thing is though too is that like I've got like my quad Cortex is set up for playing live too, and that allows me for certain types of gigs to like get way more interesting and way more weird, cool colors and delays and strange reverbs and things like that I'm not going to ever, you know, build a bigger board to deal with.
Yeah. Well, Joe, love checking out your rig, and talk to your brother now.
Yeah, awesome. Thank
Hell
you.
Yeah, of course. All right, last but not least, we got Zach. Zach, how you doing?
Oh, cheers, man. I'm doing
Cheers,
good,
dude.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for inviting us into the band house.
Absolutely, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. So tell me about this SG. It's got a hole in it, my friend.
Yeah, this thing's got a hole in it for sure. It basically, so when I first got this thing, it had a pick guard still that went down and covered everything up. And I had played it like that forever. It was a standard wiring and everything. It's what is this? It's a 90. Yeah, it's a 90. And basically, like when I first moved to Chicago and started like playing with Royale,
yeah,
Nate and Joel gifted this to me as like a welcome, like fuck yeah, like you're here kind of a thing. And then yeah, many years later, I stuck a T-top in the bridge. This is like I believe one of the burst buckers.
Okay.
Or it might be a custom bucker, but like if I remember right, it's that. And then yeah, I wired it so it just had a master tone, master volume. I used the holes that were there basically, and I just made it what it is.
Yeah.
So now I just like to play it like this. I think it's sick, but I think it's dope. Yeah,
yeah, dude. Can we hear it? Let's hear this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, what tunings are you guys using in?
Generally, we're doing a lot of. We're always in E flat.
Okay.
So we're always in E flat. So our drop D is a C sharp, and pretty much everything is that, or we'll go down even to I guess it would be like a B for like the songs like Robots and Guns and things like that. It all ends up being a B because that's F, yeah, one of those.
Okay.
And I mean, so this is like all my guitars are strung with 11-52s because they just have to be. So we're already half step down with string tension.
Hell yeah, dude. And so everyone keeps track. He's the youngest brother, baby brother, right?
Yes, sir.
Of Joel and and the drummer.
Yeah, Nate. Yeah,
drummer Nate.
Yep.
What's
Yeah.
it like being in a band with your brothers?
It's probably a lot easier than other bands that aren't in bands with their brothers because like we inevitably talk everything out. We have to hash shit out. We've done it forever. We've been fighting each other and getting over it since we were literally like, kids.
Yeah.
So there's like nothing's left on the table. You get it all out.
I wish there's a band of brothers that I wish would be like that. And, figuring it out. But regardless, let's move on to the next guitar. I'll be your tech here.
Yeah, sounds good.
Wow. Holy shit. So this is such a different departure from that one.
Oh yeah,
Like
dude.
just weight.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, it's a
Absolutely.
Les Paul, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, that thing's, and that's a 79, so that's that thing is like, classically, those are just like heavy behemoths.
This thing's like a third of that.
Yeah, this is like I don't remember exactly, but I remember when this thing came in, that's when I was working at CME, and when this thing came in, it was literally I was doing all the specs on it. I ultimately, obviously it's mine, I found a way to take it home, but
Yeah.
but I think when I weighed it, it was like 10.8, 10.9 pounds. It's heavy. It's really heavy. And this thing's super cool. Right now, I'm in the middle of doing some work to it, actually. So right now, the neck pickup's what I got in this thing.
That's it.
Because like literally, yeah. Because I have, if you look at the cavity right now, it's like there's nothing connected to the bridge right now.
Okay.
So, but I mean, this thing is amazing. This is just a couple T-tops. Everything's original aside from like my buddy here in town like painted some stuff on the back of the headstock for me because I got this thing and somebody had like used house paint to put a Confederate flag on the top of this guitar. And so I was just like, I mean, like, yeah, Zach Wild stuff, whatever. But
Yeah,
I
Pride and Glory.
I stripped all that off of it, and I just like, and like my buddy who makes like cool, weird pick guards and stuff made a pick guard for me, and I just used like, honestly, I used like a StuMac amber just to give it a coat, give it some protection, from like weather and moisture and stuff.
So when you actually bought it, it still had the flag on it.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, sand it off.
Yeah, I used card scraper. I mean, it was thick, dude. I card scraper, sandpaper. It took me a minute. But I got it all off, and I was like, dude, it's also like, it's a 3-piece body, which they were doing in the 70s, like, when they started doing like multiple piece tops and stuff in solid colorways. And I stripped it down, and I saw that it was like evenly spread out, the pieces and whatnot, so I was stoked.
With it being stripped all the way back down to the wood, it kind of reminds me of like an artisan.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, and this thing sounds amazing. It's like all neck pickup right now, but...
Did you buy it because it was a deal?
Oh yeah. So basically, yeah. I mean, this was something that basically, I mean, with all the work that had to get done to this thing, I managed to get it for a steal because it was going to cost so much to have all the work done to it.
Yeah.
So I basically I told them that I just pay for it, and I just do all the work myself for myself. There we go.
It sounds good, man.
It sounds great. This is like super, super warm. Like everything about it is just warm. Even like the bridge pickup, like when I have it actually connected, is like super bitey and super cutty. But it's a super, dude. I'm just sweating my dick off in here right now. I feel like Joel did. Oh my god, holy shit. But yeah, I mean, so this thing it's super fun. And this is probably like my actual favorite guitar because I just always wanted a Les Paul custom. I mean, I think part of that, like we talked about, like I am like the youngest brother of my 2 brothers.
Yeah.
And Joel was always playing Les Pauls and stuff too. So that and being from Kalamazoo, I think there's just Gibson pride there too. And I just always wanted to have a custom. And when I found this one, it was like price range, needed a bunch of work, did all the work, got the stuff done to it. And it's also kind of been like, I've like sort of overhauled electronically this thing a couple different times and switched things
Where
up.
are we at now electronically then?
I mean, right now I actually put everything original back into it.
Okay, so we're back.
So these are all 79 pots. All 79. I mean, it's the T-tops from that era and stuff too. So that's really like all the electronics. Like I played around with some different humbuckers and stuff, and ultimately I just ended up coming back to the OGs. They just sounded so good.
Yeah.
So I left it alone.
What were you chasing?
I think I wasn't chasing. I think I was experimenting. I was just like, because I was like trying to figure out about different kinds of pickups and different kinds of tones and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I was chasing, but I mean, I think I had a super distortion in here at one point. I forget, like, I think I had just like a wild, like super, like people will scoff at me for this, but like I think I put like some rails in there at one point too. So like some fucking, I was just like, like what do these things do?
Yeah.
So I was just trying everything.
What was your gig at CME?
I was in a repair shop.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So I was taking care of all that stuff.
So you're hands-on with when it comes to your guitars.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I definitely like. That's why I say like people will probably scoff at me for just like some of the shit. I'm just like, I just want to fling shit at the wall. I just want to see how it goes.
Yeah, see where it sticks.
Yeah. And if it even if it sticks, if it doesn't sound good, fuck it, I'll go right back. But,
yeah, there's a confidence probably in that you know, like if it sounds like crap, I can move on.
Yeah, I can move on. I can put it back to the way that it was.
Yeah,
exactly. And I have I have a workshop here and stuff that I can do my own work.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of a beauty, man, let's see this third and final one. This is so cool. I'll swap you.
Yeah, swap me out here. That thing is very dope.
It's got Dunnival vibes. It's got SG vibes.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty funny. So my buddy, this is a very good friend of mine that we went to the same trade school in Colorado. That's like how we met, through just like he's from Kansas City, and all of my friends at the time was, for whatever reason, were all Kansas City people, and so he was moved into the same house that I did and everything.
Yeah.
This is like 12 years ago, and he went through like the woodworking program, and he like found the guitars was just like his thing, like his bread and butter. Like the necks are all like shaved by hand with spoke shaves and hand planes and things like that. So like he's like kind of Amish about how he does a lot of this stuff. Like he's straight up like, there's obvious, like, I mean, even just down to this entire thing it's all walnut. Fretboard, neck, body. The neck is bound with flame maple, and he does like the traditional like iron rod, like to steam bend all the maple and stuff too around everything. These are like just like his brainchild, like works of art. And he's also a huge Star Wars nerd. So when he was building this thing, he named it the Prince of Darkness, and he was thinking about like what Darth Vader would play. Yeah. Like if he was to make it.
There we go.
So that's this thing, and this thing sounds amazing too. This is a Arcane D90. It's basically just like a super, super, super hot P90.
Okay.
Soap bar P90.
What do you think about now that you're with it, is the walnut? Because it's not think about as a tone wood.
It's not, but honestly, so if you think about walnut, it is like grains, like structurally, like in the wood grain and just how the wood responds. It's really close to mahogany. Mahogany and walnut are both considered to be semi-ring porous. Which basically, that's like where you get the, like, you know, cowlings, the dog hair finishes and things like that. Semi-ring porous woods will create the space in the grain for you to put a grain filler in and then finish it, and that's how you get the pop like that. So, I mean, it is very much aligned with that of Carina or mahogany, and it's not used very much, but also the cool part about this stuff is a lot of this wood is, you know, like, he's in Tennessee now, and he sources a lot of this walnut from Tennessee because there's so much wood there.
Oh, dude, I got walnuts all over the place.
Yeah, there's so much walnut down there, and so a lot of this stuff is just straight up sourced from trees that were down there and whatnot too.
Cool. Well, let's hear this thing.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think it's already so hot. It's wild. So hot that I can just use, like, I use an Archer here, basically just as my clean boost, and that alone with this guitar will just send it into overdrive.
Just so everyone knows at home, what's the name again? Just so we can make sure to get your friends some love.
Leisure Guitars.
Okay, cool.
Leisure Guitar Company. Yeah, they're really, really rad. And he's gonna have a whole line of stuff out coming soon too. But yeah, I mean, it's just keep a lookout for him for sure.
Yeah. What trade school were you going to, or like what kind of focus?
I was going there for guitar building first and foremost.
Okay.
And then I found out in the process of that I didn't like building guitars. I hated it.
What did you hate about it?
I didn't like going from start to finish on them, man. I really didn't. I mean, I started out, I think the biggest thing was acoustic was the first thing I ever did. And it was just like, it was so, I mean, the guys that build acoustic guitars they're insane.
Yeah.
Like they're meticulous and just like how much, like, there's so many things so many parts, like so many like frequencies and like wood resonances. And then you have guys that torify tops now and all that kind of shit. So there was just so much to it. I was like pulling my hair out. And so like I figured out that in the instrument world, I loved like repairing, and I loved just like taking things that were just old and messed up and like making them like new again.
Okay.
That was where I found myself. Like, you know, that was my pride and my joy about all that.
Okay.
Basically, yeah. I mean that, and then I got into furniture making, but furniture making's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't like building guitars. It wasn't my thing. I don't know.
Hey.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm blocking it, but we'll show it. What's the amp we've been hearing so far?
So this is, I'm running through a Sovtek MiG 60.
Okay.
And it's super, super fun. I mean, I could probably use getting just like a clean amp for a pedal platform. But I fell in love with this thing the first time I ever played it, because like I have it in the low gain right now, but if I threw it in the high and then turned the preamp up on this thing, like I could just roll the tone down and have a fuzz pedal going straight in. It's like a laser beam of distortion.
Really?
It's crazy. So it's like I have it dialed right now, so that just basically I can get clean just with how, like my dexterity of like how I play. Mm-hmm. But it wants to yell at you. It's fun. It's a pissed off, angry amp.
Yeah,
all the
I was
time,
to say it's the
for
angry
sure.
neighbor on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, yeah. And I have always loved Sovtek stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. Like I've always liked it. I like the aesthetic. It's got like some high watt stuff kind of going on with the white beating, even just aesthetically. But the MiG stuff. I mean, like the MiG 50s. I've had the MiG 50s with and without without preamp that weren't master volume.
Okay.
And those kind of just like are like powerful bassmen as well. But I don't know. I had two different MiG 50s. Got rid of that. I had an AC30 for a while, and then when I found this thing, I played it. I sold my AC30 and I just bought this. I've had this ever since.
Yeah. No looking back. What about the cab?
The cab is also something that I built. I built that in a pipe organ shop in Denver. So this thing's actually put together internally. I used really, really thin leather in every glue joint. So I made it completely airtight.
Is that the idea behind that then?
I mean, yeah. Again, experimenting. You
Yeah.
know, I was just like, what's this gonna do? And so I made it completely airtight in the hopes that it would just be punchy and ballsy. And I think I've pretty much achieved that. But like, yeah, when you pull the back baffle off of this thing to get to the speakers, if you have to, like, you take the plate off, and when you take the plate off and you pull it, you can feel air sucking into it because you're pulling it out. It's
You need a
super,
crowbar.
yeah. It's super airtight.
What are the speakers?
The speakers in that, I believe, are two G12Ms. They're the vintage, or no, not vintage 30s. They're the greenbacks.
Okay.
I did put some creambacks in there at one point. I've gone through some different things in that too. I've messed around with my stuff. Quite a bit.
Yeah, you're a tweaker.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tweaker and well, not that way. Not that way. Like a tinkerer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, absolutely, dude. Yeah. I mean, I throw so much stuff in there for a long time. I didn't even have like the grill cloth on there. And that actually came off of like a 60s bassman cab that I re-grill cloth when I was at CME.
Okay.
So the old one person didn't want, so I got to keep it, and I just cut it just so I could fit it behind the speakers that were there. But yeah, that's also just kind of a creation of mine.
Well, right on.
Yeah.
Let's get on to pedals, man. What do we got here?
So basically, my role, kind of what I like to do, especially with this band, is I end up, I'm literally dripping. What the hell? But
The lights will get you, man.
dude, it's hot. It's no
It's
joke.
not fun being on this side of the camera.
So a lot of this is set up for texture. Like I have pretty much the Archer is like, that's like, I keep that on. Generally speaking, that's always on. That's like my clean sound. Is having my Archer just up a little bit. Because I like to be able to just like dig in and get a little bit of breakup. And then the screamer's there when I do get heavy with Joel. But basically, the ground that I live in is like usually the vibrato of the chorus, the Strymon Capistan, and the flint as well.
Okay.
Because basically all of that is just creating texture, backing up, like filling in all the spaces that need to be there sonically.
Yeah.
Live and
Yeah,
stuff. So.
Kim Thale used a description when we did a rundown with him years ago, was that he's like, didn't see himself as the lead guitarist, he saw himself as the color guitarist.
Yeah, that's
Texture.
exactly, yeah. I'm the texture guy.
Yeah.
And I like being the texture guy a lot. Like,
What do you like about that?
Honestly, there's elements of it where, personally, I feel like one of my strong points is coming into someone else's idea and just thinking about what could be there.
Okay.
And or like how I can add to it, and just creating sonically, especially like in a live setting, even when you're just writing before you go into recording and stuff. Just filling out the space. Like sometimes, like Joel will come to me sometimes with an idea and be like, "Hey, something's missing. I don't know what it is. Like, listen to it, play with it, do your thing to it." And I like that world of living is where I think I shine the most, and it's where my brain works.
It's reflective, and it makes sense why you would like the idea of repairing and fixing, upgrading things.
For sure.
Because it's like you see that thing and then you want to fix it or improve it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, talk me through the pedals. Obviously, we can see them here. They're pretty standard, but like show us how you're using them and some of the core sounds you need out of them.
I mean, so the distortion stuff is obviously, that is what it is. We all like, I don't need to give you a bunch of tube screaming right now. My amp's just gonna freak out. But the Archer, like I said, that thing kind of stays on. This is a hot pickup already. Let's see.
If you want to cruise back to the SG or the Les Paul, we can. But if you want to roll with that too, that works too.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me, man. I can play this thing right now. Also, I mean, for a lot of this stuff, like especially like close to the vest and things like that, I go to the vibrato. I go to vibrato because it's just like I said, this is all texture stuff.
Get the little mini chorus there too.
Yeah. And that stuff, like for that first record, there's a lot of, I did some keys on that, like, because there was a Wurlitzer was buried into the mix in the recording.
Okay.
And so I used keys live for a bit, and then I just found that I'd rather just use some texture and do some light picking, because it just ultimately gave me everything that we needed, just with like the intro and everything. Like.
Dreamy.
Yeah, very dreamy.
So that was the cap, the chorus, and the vibrato.
Yeah.
It's interesting you're using the chorus with the vibrato, because they can
I mean,
do
they
similar.
kind of do the same thing. The chorus is a vibrato that you have a dry signal the whole time.
Yeah.
So it just does this kind of around it.
Yeah.
But I kind of like using a little bit of both of them, just because like it's floaty. I don't know.
You're a seasick kind of guy.
Yeah. Love being seasick. It's great.
And how are you using the Flint?
The Flint would usually be my reverb that would be on all the time. Right now, it's the only thing that my little pedal train thing is actually acting out, so I'm not powering that on right now.
Got it.
But generally speaking, that's like the reverb on that thing I like to like kind of live on. Occasionally, like when we're getting heavy into our heavy riffing sections of songs, things like that, obviously that'll go away because I don't want it to be all washed out. But for the most part, I mean, in the background of everything I'm doing, the Flint's usually living on.
Okay. And they got the L cap there.
Yeah. The cap is fun because even just like you can hold the bypass. It'll just do some crazy stuff too. Or am I wrong? What is it? Is it that one? Huh? I mean, just a lot of just like very dreamy stuff is going on with this, for sure.
Well, hell yeah, Zach. I love the orbit that you live in with this band and like how it works with everything else that's going on. I really appreciate your time as well.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Get out of here and we'll get you a towel.
Dude, I need it, dude. This is crazy.
You guys keep watching Rig Rundowns.